WOLFcon. So today's agenda is who are we? What have we done this year so far? What are the challenges of the Implementer SIG? Next year's topics, special projects, which are always fun. Everyone loves a good special project. Oh, okay. Can you hear me a little bit better now or no? Yes. Aha. Nice. Nice. I just have to have the microphone right in front of my face, which is odd because I normally talk so loud that people tell me to quiet down. Special projects, which as I said, are always fun. We also have a little call out there to join the board, and we'll kind of talk about what that actually is. And then open discussion at the end. And the quiz is not on here, but trust me, there's a quiz. So who are we? Who is the FOLIO Implementers group? Unlike other SIGs, we really don't have a focus. Our focus is what our members would like to talk about, what they would like to discover, what they would like to find out more about, what other topics they want to dive into. Is there anything else you say? Jump in? Oh, okay. No problem. Yes. That's fine. Tara has been presenting nonstop today. So what is this like?
I just love the sound of my own voice so much. I mean, in the last session I was in, I made this exact same joke and then reused it, not knowing these were right next to each other. But you know, I think that the most important thing is that this SIG is for everyone, and we want to know what new questions are out there in the galaxy for this theme that totally makes sense. You know, we sometimes do the same presentation over and over because a lot of us have been in the implementer SIG for a long time because we implemented and now we're still forever implementing.
Yes, exactly.
What I got. Darcy, you got anything?
Migrations.
Something about migrations is what Darcy asked for. No, so we're a big help to migrating libraries. So newly migrating libraries do come to our SIG and ask questions that I think people might be a little nervous because they seem a little bit like on the early side of an implementation, but we actually love those questions. We love the questions that we know how to answer. Yes. So if you are a migrating library and you want to ask about users, yeah, go for it.
No.
I can bring it to you if you would like to ask your question now. Are we doing questions in the middle?
Sure, why not?
I've given up. Let's just do that now.
We're very informal, so why not?
We're a working meeting, so we're doing questions all the time.
Vivian Gould, Mobius Consortium, and sometimes member of the group. What exactly is the role of the implementers post-implementation of their own site? In other words, y'all implemented ages and ages ago. Why are you still in the implementers group? What is the role?
I mean, we can leave if you want. It's one less SIG I'd have to attend, so.
I mean, one of the answers to that is that if I came to the implementers group many times asking questions as we were implementing. And so I'm paying it forward. So anyone who asks questions, I'd love to be able to help them and answer them.
Not only that, but once you start implementing, every time you upgrade, you're implementing again.
Yes.
And every time there's a change to the code, you're implementing, you're doing it. It's part of what you're doing every damn day. So, you're part of the process. And so you're helping others, you're gaining new information. And, I think, if I'm not mistaken, implementers was where I first heard about Eureka permissions. And so it's like, let's get it's like there's always something new. There's always something coming. So, it's not like you come in and then you're done unless, everything always goes perfectly for you.
And we've also kind of picked up like the special topics one, which as I said is always fun. We've also kind of picked up some stepchild sort of like projects, topics that don't fit under the SIGs. For instance, we did the remote working group for a while because it doesn't kind of fit under circulation. It doesn't fit under inventory. So we just convene one for a little while to kind of flush some things out. So that's also another benefit of it. But yeah, definitely, it's more paying it forward. Although since we implemented about 3 years ago, I'm not sure how relevant our knowledge is anymore.
It's still relevant. I just want to go back to one thing that Maura said real quick, because I know we have some people in this room who are not as far along in their migration as you are as a known folio expert. It is like enthusiast. There is a hill for like, the difficulty of implementing folio, and it is definitely not true that every upgrade makes you feel exactly like you did when you were migrating. Like you will not be like, what is it? Migration flu.
No, some of them we feel worse.
Okay. We're bringing people into the community. What I've been saying is like that we like to bring together the questioners and the experts, and sometimes you're the questioner and sometimes you're the expert, and it really just depends on what the question is. So
Yes.
paying it forward. Should we move on?
I don't know. We had a really good conversation with that slide. I don't want to go any further. So, oops. Come on, quick. There we go. So some highlights from this year. What have we done? There's only 5 things on here, so we haven't done much. Now, last year we formed the programming board. So a lot of SIGs have one person that's kind of the, whoops, am I still not loud enough? Stay later. Okay, I'll do this. A lot of SIGs have, I'm sorry, I'm a mover, so I have to hold on to the podium before I don't go anywhere. Sure, maybe. Yeah, let's do that one. That one seems to be more powered. Haha. This works. Huh? Okay, it's on now. Can y'all hear me now online? Cool. Whoa, and I'm breaking stuff. This is because my actual size and my perceived size are 2 different things. My perceived size is about this. My actual size is about that. So at the end of last year, we formed the programming board. So a lot of other SIGs have a lead, and then they have a chair, and they have a co-chair. With us, we actually have 3 different people. It's myself, and I'm right now forgetting your name. I'm sorry. Darcy and Tara.
It's been a long day for you.
And the bad thing is, this is the first time I've actually talked today. It's that waterfall. I'm blaming the waterfall out there. So the 3 of us actually meet the opposite week that implementers meet for an hour. I usually talk for about half an hour, and then the other half hour, Darcy and Tara do a lot of work and get things rounded up for the meeting for the following week. No, actually it works out fairly well because we will split up. If you've been to the meetings, one of us will actually lead the meeting while the other 2 kind of are there for support. We'll take turns reaching out to people, so it actually lowers the amount of work that is done by the chair of the SIG by a third. So that actually has been a really cool experiment, and we love it. Then we had the remote storage working group that started up in January. That was fun. A lot of information about Dematic. Spring, we had tons of great sessions, and they're all on our wiki, so all the recordings are on there. We covered a whole bunch of different topics, and right now I can't remember all the topics we covered. I know A-Space is coming up. Jira skills, yeah. Oh, it's on the next slide? Cool. Okay. And then we had the summer of no SIGs. Yes. For some reason, everyone decided to suspend the SIG, so we decided we're taking a vacation too, which was great because I need a vacation. And then right now we're at WOLFcon. So that's what we did last year.
I will say, like, I don't think there's like a SIG conveners meeting this time, but I am actually really curious about what other SIGs experienced. And, a lot of people who come to the implementers SIG, they go to other SIGs as well. We had like a like sort of surprising and slightly scary drop off in attendance over the summer. And I saw that in the cross app SIG as well. So I don't know if that was true across all SIGs or if that was just us or maybe Bader Meinhof.
No, I'm an RA, and RA kind of did a
Yeah, so I would love to understand better, like, sort of what caused that, if it was people getting busy with their migrations or like if it was summer vacations, mostly in Europe, maybe
losing power for 3 weeks.
something like that. Because I don't know, maybe we need to like plan for that every year and not try to do a bunch of work.
I think summer is usually busy for libraries because all of the patrons, the people that cause all the turmoil at the desk that we really don't want to deal with, they go away. So the librarians and the access service staff can actually get a lot of work done, and they can actually take vacations. So it makes sense.
Maybe, yeah. All right, ready?
Cool. Yes, Scott. Some of our highlights. So, year planning, what topics should we cover? So this is just kind of a brainstorming session. You tell us what we'd like to cover and we see if we can cover them. Instead, remote storage, Eureka hands-on testing session with Charlotte. Then we did Eureka permissions, inventory and shelf reading follow-up, which was actually a really interesting conversation. Migration help and strategy, overrides in Folio, specifically CERC, which actually came from the POs. They were asking for overrides that were missing. So implementers was actually a good group with that because we're not because of the wonderful things we does. My brain is definitely in a very special space today.
You're on that 360-degree camera brain, like getting that thing to work this morning. That was the only thing you were doing.
Exactly. And as I said, like yesterday, I have had enough sleep where I'm completely and utterly coherent, but not enough sleep where I have my filter in place. So, but no, the implementer SIG was an interesting one to come to because we don't focus on a specific area and everyone that was there looks at different areas within Folio. We kind of had a more holistic view of where there might be blocks that other SIGs might not have seen. So that was actually a really cool conversation. Jira skills, which is always a popular one and happens to have, for some reason, happen every single year. Because who can not have enough information about Jira? List apps versus reporting. I'm not going to mention that one because that one's evil. Fees, fines, and actual costs. That doesn't exist, so we don't talk about that. It's
You've got Joey here. Oh.
I know, that's why I remembered it's
Oh, is that what you're not talking about? Okay.
I saw him sitting there. I can see him waiting. He's like, Tom's going to say fee fines. Linked data and migrations. We talked about locate and from the discovery SIG, which was actually really cool. And we did a plug for the privacy SIG. Jen is trying to start that up and she came and talked to us about what that SIG would like to do and looking for new members.
We covered a lot of stuff this year, actually.
We did, yeah. Especially for only meeting every other week.
I like to think it made the quality higher.
I think it did. So what is the issues? As Tara already said, low attendance, which dropped off over the summer. I like to think everyone took a vacation, which they desperately all deserve. Projects are hard. Things like implementing, I don't know, I thought implementing was fairly easy.
What? Oh, okay. So I will talk about the challenges that we've had, as clearly I am more challenged than others in our group. We've been trying to do a couple of projects that would require people to coordinate for like 3 years now. And so the great thing about our SIG is that people get to come whenever they want and we can address things at random and we have no real charge. So we can be really flexible. But the hard part of that is that you can't organize people into doing a project together if no one is coming every week. So I think that this is the year we're going to get this off the ground and it might just be more work on the conveners. But, you know, we have things that we want to accomplish and it's challenging just because of the way we've chosen to be structured. So projects are hard. And then I'll also talk about lack of conveners. We need to find a new convener and it's pretty hard to find one. I think every SIG has experienced this issue. It's not that once you become a convener, you can never unconvene yourself or something like that. But people are busy and they're challenged. Go for it. But you're new, right? Yeah. All right. Well.
And when I was having coffee early, oh, sorry, go ahead. As I say, when I was having coffee early, Joe said he would be happy to be a convener.
Is that true?
No.
Joey's the convener for the public library SIG. I bet we have, so Maura is the convener for users. Do we have any other conveners in here? We've got at least 3. Yeah. So that's part of the process that the people who are available to be conveners are already convening something.
I'm only still a convener for a few days. So
Laura, you want to come convene implementers or?
Talk to me later.
That's a yes. That's a yes.
But I did have
Hold on, Laura's trying to talk. It's a little soft in here, Laura. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. I'll try to shout. I'm wondering because I don't attend implementers regularly and I do attend cross-app regularly. And I'm seeing that there could be a lot of similarities. So what's different?
So Laura's question, because we're having some trouble hearing here, is what's the difference between implementer SIG and cross-app SIG? conveniently, I'm the convener for both of those, so I can answer that question. So implementer SIG, I like to think of as being kind of like the reference desk of SIGs, or like, the front gate of SIGs. So implementers is where you come if you have a question and you want an answer. Cross-app SIG is all about cross-app consistency, and sort of like we may address things that are all over the Folio project, but what we're really concerned about is making sure that things are usable and all the same. So if your question is what was the example I used earlier? Hey, if your question is how does label printing work, that's probably an implementer's question. If your question is why does this space cause a problem in one app but not the other, that sounds more like a cross-app SIG question. But what's great about both of them is that if you ask it in either SIG, we'll just send you to the right one where that discussion can happen. We have a question in the room. It's Maura.
I was just, it's actually kind of a suggestion for the projects are hard, which is, for user management, we have had the same sort of core membership of like 6 people for ages. And we'll have someone come in and then they'll go, and then we'll have someone come in and they'll go. And, but I'm thinking that if you can, this might be, for the council, your triumvirate running the thing. If you can have like, if you can just decide on a few people you can buttonhole to commit to a project for like, 6 months or a year or something, and that, then they would come to the implementer SIG for those 6 months, or, be able to work on something that is, of interest to the implementers. And then we could get sort of like, you can have people just sort of like, they can be tapped to do something, but it would not be the bear trap that is becoming a convener.
We got to stop scaring people with our language here, friends.
No, I think that's a good analogy, bear trap.
So Susan wants to talk. I'm sorry. We need the microphone over there.
Sorry.
So the other alternative to projects are hard is, what if you partner with other SIGs, like maybe the RA SIG, because we want to do a survey too.
See, she wants us to do our work for her.
No, she wants to do our work for us.
No, because it's exactly the same audience.
Yeah.
I know about survey fatigue. Like maybe our goals could be similar enough that we don't have a 100-page survey, but we each get what we want out of it. Right.
Yeah, and I bet there are other SIGs as well that like have questions that they want in a survey, and maybe we could have like an annual survey. Maybe this is already a PC project. I don't actually know.
I've just given it to someone else.
Yeah. So, I will say one thing that I worry about when we talk about projects is for people who do not have a job that is as loose as mine, time is real. And so when people commit to things and then other things come up, I think that they feel real bad. And, I worked in a library, so I know you can't always control those things. So it's kind of hard to find a balance between asking people to commit to something and like being gracious and realistic about their needs. Go ahead.
With regards to low attendance, it's like, oh, well, Mobius just went live a year ago. That's 62 institutions. Where are they all? And I mean, I just kind of addressed this in the consortia presentation last session, is the fact that our members are very used to the central office doing for them, like doing the advocacy, doing the support, doing all the stuff. And after a year and a quarter, after a year and a quarter of me stumping for the community, they're just starting to get the idea of, oh, well, maybe MCO isn't going to do it all for us. Maybe we do need to get involved. Maybe we do need to start attending SIGs. And then those who have started attending are still in the mindset of, okay, well, I'm attending. I don't have to talk. I don't have to do anything. And so, but those people are starting to get the idea of, oh, well, maybe I actually need to contribute more than just an attendance figure.
I love to hear that. I will say just coming counts as participating, especially for implementers. I think did we keep doing stats, Darcy? Yeah. We're sort of doing loose stats because we're curious what's most popular.
I As I say, also implementers is a good SIG to get your toes wet.
It is. It's definitely like if you're going to choose one SIG to come to, I'm not throwing shade
is
on
the best
other
one.
SIGs, but this is the best one.
Right. Well, to follow up, Vivian, the if people are just sort of getting the notion that they can attend, I mean, personally, that's when I started putting my 2 cents in, and then that's when I started becoming, like a regular attendee, and so I mean, it's not like, I'm hoping that what this means is that that the Mobius people will start becoming, shall we call them more active participation?
So I'm definitely attending SIGs to the point where I think when people see my name pop up, they're like, oh God, Vivian's here. And I definitely put in my 2 cents, which is why they're saying, oh God, Vivian's here. I think, I mean, again, we're coming, Mobius is a consortium, we're coming off of like 25 years of being in a Sierra environment where it really is not a community. And I mean, there's the IUG, but it's really not a community project in the same way that Folio is. And so I think that it's going to take them some time to get their minds around it. Now, a whole bunch of them, because we're here in Kansas City, a whole bunch of them are at WOLFcon. And so I think they're getting that message about community, about collaboration, not just from me, but from various sessions that they're attending. So hopefully we'll see more. And some of those people definitely are as loud and obnoxious as I am. And so we'll be hearing from them a bit more.
I have a question.
Well, I'm just, well, does that mean that those of us long timers should just hang tight?
So I have a question, sort of like a philosophical question. Like,
Uh-oh.
I just thought I'd drag out this discussion a little bit longer. So I do work with some libraries that for a variety of reasons are not direct participants in the Folio community. They sort of rely on me as their hosting provider to participate for them and to speak for them. Do we think that having the most direct voices in the community is like the most important like aspect of participation, or do we think that like if you can't participate directly, like having someone, a one person representing all of these other groups is actually okay? Like, is it important that the ideas are being heard or that the numbers are there?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I think the other problem is though too is like when you're representing a whole bunch of small libraries, they may not have the man hours to actually have somebody go to even one SIG, more or less like 4 or 5 of them. Like I think Cornell right now Laura, we're probably in like 10 SIGs. So I think like, and there's also, I think there's some people that are running Folio that are more than happy to just say, I'm going to put my concerns towards my hosting provider and let them surface it with the community. And if it comes, it comes. If not.
But I don't think that those people are less invested necessarily in the Folio community. And I think that some of the ways that we like count what's important to our community are maybe not helpful in that way, because there is a lot of sort of like voting and like this many institutions or this many people. And if it's me saying these 5 institutions need this, it looks like one person, right? So this is not really about implementers anymore. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Jerry Springer. Caitlin Stewart, Library of Congress. I'm a longtime lurker, first time attendee. Like, I think 3 years I might have had this on my calendar, and this is the first time this worked out. Like Mobius, we're still kind of caught up in the after shock, after glow of implementation. I don't know. But I wanted to share with you guys some of the things about implementers that are important from my perspective. So our community puts a lot of emphasis on synchronous transactions, right? These like SIG meetings, right? I haven't been able to attend an implementers meeting this entire time, but I have benefited from the fact that you guys put together really focused meetings with clear deliverables that I can share with my team asynchronously. And we actually have really benefited from that a lot. Like your label printing, like one of the early label printing. And I think, didn't you do like a page on label printing,
Yeah,
different
yeah.
options? That was that was really helpful for us. And also, early on, you did one about macros, and that this might not be the same cast of characters, but like that was really useful for us. And actually, on Thursday, some people from my team are doing a talk that looks like what we did with that. So I just wanted to put in that plug as you're thinking about who you are and the value you provide. The thing that's been most useful to us is the questions you ask, the responses you're able to put together, and the artifacts that come out of the meetings, if not the meetings themselves. I do hope that someone from my team is going to be involved moving forward.
I am so gratified to hear that.
Okay, I just want to follow up a little bit on that because I'm wondering now, I mean, we're talking about metrics. We're talking about low attendance. We're talking about having enough people to commit to do projects and, essentially commitment in general. But it looks like in some cases, the deliverable is something that someone can get without participating at all. And so is there a way that we can measure that so that, and the reason I say this is because, you can go to a SIG meeting and see the same 5 faces and wonder if you're getting anywhere and if you're doing any good. And, so having something that says, okay, well, we've done this and it turns out to be of tremendous help to, all of these people doing, the same thing. If we had something like that, sort of like as a metric, not just, not only would that tell, the people who are doing it that, they're not just sort of painting a wall, but it would also, I think, maybe gin up some interest in people who might want to participate and therefore be part of the SIG, maybe convene, maybe do a project, something like that, so that someone can say, look, this is important, and maybe I can be a part of that.
I think Darcy first, yeah.
I will try to stay as positive as Mara, just her comments were. When you say, if I come and represent 5, or is it 16 or 26 or however many people you have, then you can't ask yourself why you're not the co-convener. Because 5, 16, 26 different people could be coming to our meetings, and one of them could become co-convener sometime after they feel comfortable enough. I mean, I think it's totally fine to come to a meeting and say nothing, for your first 6 months, however long you want, because you're like, who is this community? And so you come and you hear and you listen and you at some point put in a few cents, or $50 if you're Vivian. And that's fine, but I think that having more people come builds the community, and this is a Folio open source product, so the community is super important in my mind. So, having EBSCO be the vendor and representing all the people that they're hosting, or having index data representing all the people that they're hosting, it's good, but it's harder for the smaller groups to get all the voices and all the participation in this Folio community that we're building.
I feel like the small libraries SIG is a really good example of that, because those are all people who I feel like could rely on their vendor for representation, and they've come together in their small group to get their needs addressed, and that community is really strong and great. Sorry, where did the microphone go?
I have it.
Mobius Central Office is kind of a quasi vendor because we are a customer. We're EBSCO customers, but we're also we are our help desk for our membership. And so it is appropriate for me and my colleagues to be involved in the SIGs and all the rest. But again, like I said, I've been stumping for the community since day one, because as I keep telling my members, look, I'm there to represent you, but I'm only one voice and I'm only one vote. And if something is really important to our members, I mean, we've got 62 members. That's at least 62 votes on a JIRA. That's at least 62 opinions in a SIG. But I mean, like I said, I think they're getting there. We addressed this a little bit again in the consortia SIG, and one of the Mobius, one of my customers is like, okay, so I want to get involved. What's step one? And so, we said, go to the Folio Wiki. There's a list of all the SIGs. Click on the SIGs that pertains to your interest. Get the information for meetings, get the information for Slack, all that good stuff. So, I mean, I'm hoping that we'll be seeing more Mobius people at the implementers meeting. And of course, now that Wichita is live, I don't have a conflicting meeting, so I'll be there. What fun for all.
Welcome. Sorry. So I skipped over some slides just because I wanted to put this on here. So some of our special projects that we want to work on, we already talked a little bit about the implementers directory. That's the survey that we've been discussing and how we could maybe partner with other SIGs. That would be a really great idea. But the other is what you were talking about, these topic guides that we've created in the past and invested some time in making, and I personally get a ton of use out of them. I reuse them all the time. I send them to new implementing libraries and I refer to them when people have questions. So that's another of those special projects that's maybe a little more granular and easy for us to accomplish. So I'm hoping that one of these two is something we can work on this year. Are there any other special projects we've talked about? No, we're good. Question? Comment? Caitlin, yes. Oh, okay.
All right.
Give me.
Only we could have him running on a treadmill in the middle. That would be like...
So I don't know if this is the appropriate time to raise this in the meeting, but one of the things I wanted to engage with you guys about is like obviously coming off of a big implementation, communication takes time, right? We have not had a lot of capacity for sharing information about our implementation. And I've often thought like we should dig up our implementers page and hang some documentation there. But one thing that would be helpful from my perspective is to know, to have like a venue for sharing information about some stuff that we've done. Like, I mentioned the stuff we're going to be presenting on later this week. But also, it's hard for us to prioritize what to share, so it would be helpful to hear from implementers what they would like to hear from us so that we can put together some materials to share through this channel. And I think there could be some interesting conversations coming out of it. So
that sounds great. And the slide that I skipped over was the one where we brainstorm next year's topics. But we got a good vibe going in the room, so I'm sure we can, and on Zoom. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out. I'm sure we can brainstorm topics in a Zoom meeting. So let's continue this discussion.
Yeah, no, I was thinking in terms of, you had those other two projects, being part of the cross-app SIG. We had an entire meeting about something we thought was a slam dunk, but the more we looked at it, the less sense it made. And it had to do with truncated searching and wildcards.
Oh my
When you
gosh.
search across apps. I know. But the
That
thing
topic is off. Yeah.
is
Off limits.
well, it's like, the thing is that what we needed there and what we were giving each other were opinions, and what we could use is more opinions. Sort of like having a discussion about that topic, asynchronously, so that people who discover, wait a minute, I'm in team asterisk, and I do not want team question mark or whatever it was that we were stopping with, wherever it was that the breaks were happening. It would.
So so that conversation, there was some discussion over like which character to use, but the real issue with that one was it Library of Congress with the spaghetti monster? Okay, yeah. So it was this touches everything, and the more you look at it, the more spaghetti you find problem. And it emotionally scarred me, and we're going to take some time before we come back to that one.
I was going to say, with regards to the topic guides, I was today years old when I learned that you guys have a topic guides project. I have documentation that I would be more than happy to share.
Please share. Yeah.
But how does one go about submitting that?
free-for-all.
Post the documentation to the Slack channel or what?
I mean, I'm sure we could come up with a smart librarian way that people like add metadata and put things in, but every barrier that we create means less documentation is available to find. So instead of controlling how people submit their guides, I prefer to educate people that not everything on the wiki is true, which, you know, that's my
Yeah.
take. I don't know if others in the room have other takes.
I mean,
It's the Aaron approach is like, just put it up there, like, and we'll fix it later.
with no shade to the documentation folk, the documentation doesn't deep dive into some topics in the way that I think some people actually need. And so, for instance, not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to do it anyway. I took like 4 different pages of CQL query documentation. I turned it into a guide for doing CQL queries and inventory for our members. I've had amazing feedback on that. I would love to share it with the community at large, but I don't know how to go about doing that.
I will speak for myself only. I would say if you want to go to the implementers wiki site and just put it up and be like, hey, I did a thing, like we'll help you put it in the right place. We can move pages. It's just bits and bytes.
Okay.
But it has to be up there somewhere someone can find it first for us
Okay.
to organize it.
Well, then after this week, expect a new
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
I think one of the topics left for this year is another migration stories topics. So I think LOC coming and and sharing. So maybe in advance we'll talk about what we think would be most helpful. We might not know because we did implement, right? So it's like if there's maybe we can put it on the Slack channel. You know, what questions do new people that are about to implement or in the middle of it would like to hear? You know, and then. Awesome.
That would be, well, and also like specifically what questions do you have for the Library of Congress? Like you may not have an analogous situation, but like I'm sure we're all interested generally in how that went as well, right?
Yes. You're not sitting down today, Thomas. I hope you understand. I think any kind of tale from the trenches would be helpful. And if we had something like that, like as a space in the wiki, you know, in the implementers wiki space, just tales from the trenches where someone can write up, you know, a particular like pitfall they came across or something where it's like they thought this would be easy, but, or they thought they understood it to be this, but it turned out to be that was a whole lot like this. And that I think that would really be, you know, kind of helpful for people who want to, you know, share experiences.
That actually is a guide that I've been asked to write before, is like common pitfalls. Sorry, go ahead.
My question is about, have you ever had people joining the SIG and they are not yet FOLIO customers,
Absolutely.
and they would like to join in order to understand if they are ready to be migrated or to migrate to FOLIO or not? So
There's some very enthusiastic nodding. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, no, I mean, like anyone is welcome. Like, you know, if you're thinking about migrating, if you're just exploring like options and you don't have to like be like, I'm only looking at Folio. You can also be like, I'm looking at Koha. You know, we have people who have been on Alma. Everyone's used many different systems. So it can also be a great way to find people who've migrated specifically from the system you're coming from to find out like, you know, challenges they had with like their data mapping or something like that. Everyone is welcome.
I was going to say, in fact, that was part of the reason for the implementers page. So it's actually quite a few years old, so it needs to be updated. It was a page of different people who have already implemented, where they came from, what their discovery layer is, how big their collection is, how many employees they have. So you could actually go through there and say, oh, you know what? Stanford is exactly like, or very close to my, that's actually off of our implementers page. So it's older though. That's a problem. It needs to be updated. But you can say Stanford is close to what we want to do. We want to self-host. We have this many employees. I'm going to reach out to the contact person on there and ask them about their implementation and what they think of Folio.
Would it be accurate to say then that any person who's implementing could go ahead and add to that particular page and, say, okay, this is what we got. This is what we're doing. So for instance, not just a tales from the trenches, but maybe, there've been those announcements in Slack channels and things where like, hey, we've come up, yay. And, everybody gives some applause and, we can, they can, yeah, it's like, hey, do you want to join our elite, gold star status of people
Our
who,
elite gold star open to everyone.
Yeah.
Submit your own document. Okay.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
You know what makes them elite and gold star? I've discovered this is that I tell them they're elite and gold star.
Everyone in
Apparently,
this room is elite and gold star.
every last one of you, and really this is how it
Everyone
works.
on Zoom.
I'm going to
also.
look you in the eye and say, you are a gold star member of the SIG.
We're not putting stars on members of this SIG. Let me just be clear. There's not going to be any like Dr. Seuss nonsense going on in here. I changed the slide to open discussion because that's what we've kind of been doing. It's hard to run a working group. We'll just do what we're doing. I think that this session is supposed to end in 6 minutes though, right?
Yes.
So I did just want to put in my plug that we are looking for members of this group's, what have we been calling ourselves? Programming board. So I've been doing this longer than I was originally supposed to. I was supposed to do this for a year and then give it to someone else. I tried to give it to Tom and then Tom needed help. So I sort of hung around in the background. And then we decided this wasn't manageable for any individual. And that's why we now have 3 conveners and it's actually working really well. People will tell you that being a convener has been really hard. I think we basically nailed it. So, if you're interested in being a convener, this is a very low effort and well supported way to do it. We have like our actual own documentation that we can refer to say, here's how you set up a session. Here's what you need to do. Remember to thank everyone. Remember to put the slides up. Ideally do the notes, or at least have AI do them. So, this is a great way to get started as a convener. If you are interested, let any one of the 3 of us know or post on our implementers channel and we will hook you up. It's unclear if Tom would also like to leave.
I'm either way.
It's not so much that I would like to leave, it's that I think that I should leave because I think we've heard just about enough from me for a lifetime.
No, we like hearing from you.
So
Exactly. Lifetime appointment. Once you're on, you're never going to leave. I won't mind leaving, but I won't mind staying either.
Okay.
Yeah.
The point is, I think that new voices will bring new questions, and that's something that we all want. So, I think for the good of the community, it would be great if I step down. So please reach out if you think you might be interested in that. I'm looking. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I can see you shaking your head from here. It's fine. Are there any questions specifically on Zoom? I'm trying to watch the chat and also do this. So please let me know if I missed anything. I'm not seeing anything, so I think we're good. Are there any other topics that we should talk about in the room, though?
I'd say hardly.
On Zoom?
Everyone's been very quiet today, so it's very hard to know what people are thinking.
Let's specifically ask questions from that half of the room. Sorry, Darcy, did you want to say something? Yeah, go for it.
The programming board, meaning me, suggested maybe, and this was during the summer when the attendance was dropping, maybe going to a format of once a month having one of our focused planned ahead sessions, on remote storage or Jira or reporting strategies, or having Discovery SIG come, or getting the tail from Library of Congress, migration, that sort of thing. Like do that once a month instead of every 2 weeks. And then the second meeting of each month would be just bring whatever topic is going on at your institution right now. Bring your current issues or questions if you're migrating or considering things. So more open-ended, not as much planning, so that you have time to talk. Because on the sessions where we do plan something and have a presentation, there's no time for all of that chatter. But we want those discussions to happen.
Yes. And anyone else? No, I was just say I think
No.
Okay, first of all, I want to say, ask me in a year, because I've been the co-convener for the Consortia SIG for like 6 months, and I have not done anything. And I basically said, Lucy, okay, I want to start stepping up and doing more. And she's like, well, I'm so glad, because don't want to be a convener anymore. So ask me in a year whether I might want to be a convener for this SIG, because I need to learn how to do it first. But secondly, as far as doing like an open discussion thing, we do open hour sessions for our members, and we started doing every week, and then we dropped to 3 per month, and now we dropped to 2 per month. And I will say this: if you have an open forum session with no focus topic, I end up trying to get people to talk a lot. And so you really have to have people who are willing to talk in the room. And if you don't, then it's a whole lot of the convener going, okay, if you have anything to talk about, just go ahead and unmute or put it in the chat, blah, blah, blah. Let's see if I can update you on anything. And you have to, it's real easy because it requires no planning, but it's not real easy when you're the one who ends up trying to get people to talk when no one wants to talk.
That's fair, but with 3 conveners who are all have very different perspectives on Folio. So I'm for anyone who maybe missed this, I'm a implementation specialist at Index Data. Darcy's at Stanford, which is self-hosted, and Tom's at Cornell, which is hosted by EBSCO. So even if we're just talking among ourselves, I think it's still a pretty good party myself.
Yeah. And there's always pet pics. We can always send out pictures of cats, dogs. They might interrupt.
Oh, I thought you meant like pet Jira pics.
Exactly. That will get people talking.
I thought that
it's an icebreaker.
I thought that Tom meant our pet Jira topics. It's like, who wants to talk about actual
No, I'm
tasks?
talking about like Bella, like.
Oh, there's another. We're definitely not talking about wildcards ever again.
That's why the pet pics, you lure people in with a cute fuzzy animal, and then as soon as they're there, we're talking about nested searching. It works. It works.
All right, so it's 3:09, and so I think we need to let people get snacks, and our virtual friends get their own snacks. Thank you so much for coming. Please feel free to reach out to us anytime. This has been great.
Thanks, everyone.